Okay. First of all, where you're hiding your fruit snacks. I know you took like 16 and I told you don't eating a bunch of sugar. Put it, uh, not okay. Not okay. All right. I got a
We have this in
question.
church, don't think anything about it.
Nothing about think everything about it because that will make me smack you in church. So I have a serious question for you. You have been faced with lots of adversities through your life, lots of things you've overcome, addictions, things that you've dealt with, and probably continue to struggle with because you're human. And so, my question to you is you bought a motorcycle. There it is. It's pretty fantastic, but you didn't get to spend much time on it before you broke something. Where
To clarify, this is my 5th motorcycle and my first wreck, so I'm not doing too terrible.
I'm just pointing out, do you sometimes feel like, and I know the answer to this, but do you sometimes feel like like God's against you? And where are you at right now with your walk with Christ? Because I know that we've been together 8 years and maybe 9, and I've watched you walk through some things and grow. But if you had to pick one thing where you really, really, really struggle, and you want God to intervene in your life, like what would that be? And how do you think He's going to go about fixing it?
I know now that God is not against me. Um, I think everyone's kind of thought similar thoughts to that, if not that same thought. I was speaking to a lady at church. I can't even remember who it was, and she was telling me some of the stuff that she had said to God once. And after she got done, she thought she was the worst sinner. And then I told her and paraphrased some of the things I've told God, and she's like, "Okay, you went further than me, but His mercy endures forever." That's true. Um, and I just had to kind of get to a point to where I had to look at it from the right perspective as to, if you really think about it, boil it down. Don't ever wish for God to get what you deserve, because if God gave you what you deserve, He'd kill you right now and send you straight to hell. So I'm glad I don't get what I deserve. We're all sinners, but you know, if you're a Christian, you're a sinner saved by grace through faith. Sometimes when you get involved in the here and the now, you forget what's already happened. When Jesus said it is finished, He used a merchant's word called tetelestai, and it's a merchant's word because it means that when I owed someone and I had to make payments to him, the last payment, he would say back to me, tetelestai, which means the debt is paid in full. There's no more to be paid. It's done. So when I think about that, I mean, and sometimes I know it's hard to think eternally when we live in a finite world that and everything seems so big and important right here, but eternally it's done. He's done all of what we can do. And I mentioned something earlier. I know we make videos sometimes multiple a day and then won't make one for a week. I've heard multiple people in my life say, and most of these people, if not all these people, will never watch these videos, so I'm not going to say names, but all my life I've heard some old codger say, "Well, me and God's got a deal." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" You know, well, He leaves me alone, I'll leave Him alone. Or they'll come up with some cockamamie bull that makes no sense. There's no deal that you can make with God. God has already made the deal. You either take it or you leave it. And it kind of aggravates me to hear people, as a more mature Christian now, hear people say, "Well, me and God has a deal." You don't have nothing. You might have a deal with Satan, and he might be your God. You might even know who your God truly is. God made the deal. We're separated from Him by sin. God sent His only Son to bridge that gap. Now we have to do certain things to make it to God, and that's a whole nother video. But
where's your struggle though? Where's the thing that if you could ask God to fix one thing that you really struggle with right now, what is it?
Honestly, these days I feel pretty good about myself, where I'm at in my walk. Recently, I was talking to a man in my church, and I can't even remember who it was, But we were discussing about how, because God, if it's good, God can do it. God can't sin, he can't lie, he can't die. But if it's something good, the Bible says all good, perfect gifts come from above. So I know God has the power to snap his fingers and change my mind or change my heart, and I'll forget about certain things and I won't like certain things, that my flesh likes. But then, do I really want to forget those lessons that I've learned, those hard lessons? So in a way, I'm kind of glad. Go ahead, don't let me interrupt you. In a way, I'm glad that I can't forget certain things because I've learned a lot from dealing with desires of the flesh, and I know now through this, whatever this is going to turn into, I don't know, but I can help other people, or at least try to help other people that are willing to get help, because I feel as good about myself as I have my entire adult life.
But what is, if you had one thing you could ask him for to fix, what would it be right now? Or to go deeper, like what is, you've got to have something.
Reveal himself to me more. Honestly,
because I got a second half of that. What is your thing?
I would say I still deal with some anger issues.
Okay.
I think lust and anger seem to be the two
absolutely
big things for men.
Absolutely.
It's kind of how we're made physically.
Right.
It's our cross we have to bear.
So if how do you think God would go about helping you conquer your anger?
By making me more angry.
I
Until
love
start
it.
Passing the test.
Yeah.
Of driving down, because my biggest pet peeve is people driving slow in the fast lane or the left lane, the passing lane, whatever you want to call it. Get over. That makes me mad. But I think God's going to continue to position those people in my life to where I finally learn it is what it is.
It is.
Getting mad isn't going to change it. And I know this, and I still get upset sometimes. I don't freak out when things go bad and firefights or whatever. I just don't freak out. Freaking out helps nothing. So I really need to take that rationale and move it over to the anger side, because really getting mad helps nothing either. In fact, it hurts.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do this, if God gave you an assignment and you were going to do it perfectly, what do you think he would want your response to be as he walked you through getting over anger?
Just to grow past it, grow up. When I get angry after I get over it, I feel like a spoiled child. That's what I feel like. And then I go from angry to sorry, and and then sometimes the cycle repeats itself. Just to grow up and
is there something that you could do, like, and this is more for me, is there, like, so when I'm struggling with fear or stress and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do all these things, and same thing with anger or any addiction, is there something I could turn to or say, or a piece of scripture that sticks with you that kind of helps refocus you as soon as the red goes away and you can see, what?
Yeah. There's not much scripture that I think about when it comes to anger other than be angry and sin not. It's not a sin to be angry. It's a sin to be angry and sin.
Gotcha.
So, I can be angry. It's God has gotten angry. So being angry isn't a sin. Just you have to learn how to do it without sinning. And that's something that I never did very well. So now at 50, I'm trying to learn something that I should have learned at 15.
So just because I'm curious, the maddest you have ever been, what was the dumbest thing that you did that you can look back on and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that? And you did it like in the heat of anger without making yourself go to jail or something. I don't want to know that.
I would say, and I get emotional every time I talk about it, I've cussed at God before. Been so mad. Why this? Why that? I'm not going to go into the details. It's been multiple times, but I just can't believe I had the stupidity to do that. I still get mad. I still don't understand everything, and I'm not supposed to understand everything. But some of the words I've said to God, I've been pretty bad. So,
Have you asked him to forgive you?
absolutely.
Do you think he forgave you?
I know He did.
Okay.
Uh, and I don't think I'm an island off away from
Oh,
everyone.
no,
I
100% not.
think a lot of people have,
They're just not real. They don't show.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's no excuse. I'm going to answer that one day.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to fall flat on my face and remind Him that I know that I'm nothing without Him.
100%.
And I'm just growing. I'm trying to grow. You know, I've grown a lot actually in the last 8 years or since we've been together. God has used you to help me grow, even though we shouldn't rely on other people too much. There are some people in our lives that are placed there by God that help us get over things.
Kind of a catalyst.
Yeah, sure.
I'll say this. I knew God, and I went to church, but I didn't know God. You know, if that makes any sense. You brought me to a place I'd never been led. I'd always been forced into a position where if things were going to get done, I had to do them. I couldn't rely on somebody else because they were going to fail me or fail my kids, and I couldn't risk not having electric or food or whatever. So I knew God, but I didn't know what that looked like, what living with God looked like until you came into my life. Now, I'll say this. You've also brought me some challenges that I had to deal with, and for the first time, I didn't run. I did burn a few things of yours, but I don't know that you've missed them. This may be the first time we've spoke about them, so I don't know that it was that important. But I was able to be still, but because of you leading me to God, I did pray. My flesh took over initially when I would get angry and I'd be like, all right, I'm done. But then I would hear a small voice saying, just be still a little bit. And it still is. It's still hard for me to be still because if, like you say, if you get angry and you're yelling and I hear you out here throwing something, it's hard for me to be still because I want to just say, God's laughing, and trying to tell you He loves you. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why men get mad at a tool. I don't. It's really the operator.
It's the tool. Well, yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm the tool.
I'm kidding. Anyway, I wanted a little deeper insight for you. You're doing little snippets here, and I wanted something a little bit deeper on who you are and what you're looking for.
I also want to say this too. We recorded a couple videos a while ago, and I've uploaded a couple, and sometimes I might misspeak or say something one word off or something because I've got traumatic brain injury and I don't remember things all that well anymore. I don't take this lightly. I don't think this is all funsy and games because I would much rather just be doing nothing and not record a video. But I feel a calling to share, and I don't know much, but I'm just sharing what I know, and hopefully I pray that it helps people. But when I go to bed at night, I don't just lay my head and think, oh, another day in the books, we're done. No, because I think about the things I've said, and if I say something to lead somebody astray, that their blood's going to be on my hands. I used to say I was a youth pastor a long time. I really wasn't. I was just in a real small church that they didn't have one, and I just helped out. But I was terrified every Wednesday. I was praying because I was going into a very dark time in my life, a very dark period. And I knew if that bled over into my teachings to these kids, I just didn't want their blood on my hands. So I always prayed, Lord, don't let me ever get in the way of you. And I take it serious. So that being said, this isn't a joke to me. This is serious business.